Hello and welcome to the first episode of The Lincoln Show. This is a brand new talk show where myself, Henry Elwell, and guests alike talk about Lincoln City in full depth. Next to me is a chair that is vacant at the minute but won't be for very long. Please allow me to introduce my first guest of this show, Mr. George Colhoun.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
No worries, no worries at all. I think as the what the concept of the show. Let me get into that for a bit of context. Of myself, I'm a big Lincoln supporter, Lincoln City supporter. Always have been. Love the club. I'm a local in Lincoln. Not born here, but I lived in here all 18 years of my life. Don't know about yourself.
Yeah, I was born in Lincoln, raised in Lincoln.
Nice.
Made in Lincoln.
Oh,
made in a Royal Navy. No, and basically, I've been a Lincoln boy all my life. Don't worry, guys, I've been out of my actual county, but I was born in
Lincoln. Don't move.
Don't move.
Don't move around here.
I went to Lincoln. I drive a tractor. Don't know my ABCs. But basically,
get really country, yeah.
But basically, born in Lincoln County Hospital, raised in Lincoln, Lincoln City fan. Ever since I was a young lad, really.
Yeah.
The first ever game, Aldershot versus Lincoln, in 2011.
Right. Okay. Cool.
And well, I don't know why I came back after that. To be fair, but something kept me going. So
see, my first game. This is off topic, but just for context of the whole show. My first game was against Dartford back in 2013.
Oh,
We got free tickets as part of school. So my family my mum doesn't care for football all too much, but my dad is a Wednesday supporter.
Ooh, okay.
That's where he was brought up and everything like that.
Oh, yeah.
Does
he have a Yorkshire accent? Does he speak a bit like?
He's got Yorkshire tendencies. I wouldn't say accent really.
Right.
He's very sort of Yorkshire.
That's
going in. He's quite a Yorkshire boy.
I get what you mean.
So I went as a young kid. Not a lot, but I did go, and then since for the past however many years, season ticket holder. Everything like that.
Oh, brilliant.
It's hard to say we've had a bad time supporting Lincoln, because during our years, at least, we've been, if we haven't been promoted, we've been doing well.
Yeah, no, of course, yeah.
But we never saw. We never saw administration. We never saw anything like that.
No, I get.
We were just born before that.
Oh, of course, yeah. No, it's poignant that you bring that up, actually, because when Lincoln back in the day, back in those dark days of 2011 to 2016, because then 2015-16 was when it started to look a bit up, because we had that really good form before Christmas, didn't we, under Chris Moyes, and then, of course, it fell because of hernias and Liam Hearn. No, but Matt Reid had the hernia. And basically loads of things happened, but he was on 20 goals a season in that season. We were brilliant before Christmas. It's just a shame that you don't obviously get plaudits for being good before Christmas. You have to be consistent. But that was on the ups, and then the season after, we all know what happened. I don't even need to wrap it on the back.
We don't even need to say anything.
We know that guy. We know those two men.
So successful.
Yes.
Scarily successful.
Scarily successful.
Because to be able to, this, we're not even talking about this. We're just in conversation. This is what this show's all about. I don't want it to limit it.
Yeah.
But that 16-17 season.
Yeah.
If you that's FIFA career mode sort of thing where you
the Lincoln rebuild.
You rebuild the squad effectively, because that's what you did.
Yeah.
Signed a load of new players. And then in the same season got promoted into the Football League. Does that happen? It doesn't, because it's a hard thing to do.
Yeah,
to make an imprint immediately. Yeah. Such a hard thing to do.
Oh, it's very rare. Those two boys.
My
men.
No, Danny and Nicky Cowley, if you're not familiar, but I'm sure you will be.
They are brilliant,
yeah. Lovely.
100%. But what I'm trying to say is those two, I thought were going to... Obviously, they still can they're still pretty young in manager standards. They can still make something of themselves. But I thought they were going to be like the next big, like the next Eddie Howe or something like that. Really.
Well, there's potential there.
There's still
there's
something
potential.
there.
I mean, is it culture? I don't know how good.
They're at culture. Oh, they're awful at the moment.
Oh, are they? Okay.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying.
Right.
But I don't think they get enough plaudits for what they did at Huddersfield Town because. Yeah, all right, they were in the relegation zone, but in the first season in the Championship, they had it all stacked on them. Not a very good squad, and they managed to save them for relegation. And then the goodbye present is, you've been sacked, change of vision.
I completely didn't realise this.
Yeah.
Smith Rowe was at Huddersfield at the time.
Yeah, he was, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Which is mental. I mean,
not well.
The Cowleys made him.
See?
No, but I get what you mean. But no, what I'm trying to say is, I thought these two were, and they still could be, but I thought at the time, because it was so miraculous, and it was like, this is Graham Taylor stuff. This is Keith Alexander-esque. Even better than some of their records, I'd argue. 3 trophies in 3 seasons.
Keith Alexander, although wasn't successful, although we never got trophies from, we never got promoted from him. We went to 4 back-to-back.
Oh yes, he was wonderful.
Absolutely. Promotional playoff games,
Absolute wonderful manager, wasn't he? He was very revolutionary for many of reasons. And he played for St. Lucia like Rico Hackett has. Yeah, so 2 legends that have come from St. Lucia. Well, I wouldn't call him a legend yet, Rico, but he's definitely a liked player at Lincoln.
Yes.
And I suppose that he'll look back at someone like Keith Alexander for inspiration because he did some remarkable things. It wasn't very... wasn't he the first ever EFL black manager?
He might have been.
Yeah,
I can't confirm that.
He was quite revolutionary in that aspect, and the England team wore black armbands once he died, and loads of famous footballers went to his funeral. Very impactful man in the game, well-spoken.
Massive in football.
And he saved Lincoln in that season. Him and let's not forget Rob Bradley and the board members that helped, helped Lincoln during that ITV digital collapse, but he was a fundamental man, and luckily I've been lucky enough to speak to Rob Bradley on the sports coach. Lovely guy. Very nice. I mean, the last time I spoke to him, I was a bit tipsy, I can't lie. But he was a lovely guy, and he spoke about how just special that human being was, and how inspiring he was. You'd feel him once he come in the room. He was one of those types of men.
Almost like an aura.
An aura behind him, Very, very inspirational man for what he did. If you look at the playoffs, those 3-4 seasons, he had a squad of non-league players. You've got to remember Simon Yeo scored 21 goals in one season under him in Football League 2.
Yeah.
But seasons before, he was playing for Hyde United and Affrington Town, or whatever they're called, and not even Vanarama North level. And then this, players, what it seemed to have said, they'd said that they'd run for a brick wall for him, and it just brought the best out of players. And all these players, because of course I know I'm going on a bit, but the ITV digital collapse back in 2002 meant that we had to sell some of our best players, like a Lee Thorpe, a Tony Battersby, a Jason Barnett, and they were the highest paid players. And then we had to bring in these non-league unknown players like Dean Cropper, Simon Yeo, Richard Butcher, who turned out to be brilliant servants for the club. And what I'm trying to say is a manager like that brought the best out of them, whereas other managers might have got relegated and crumbled under that pressure. Keith thrived, and he's probably, for me, will go down as one of the greatest at Lincoln for that, for context. He did a great job at his time. Danny did a great job at his time. Skubala's doing great at the moment. I don't want to predict his future yet, but
it'd be wrong.
17th of May is all I'm saying. But Colin Murphy, Graham Taylor, with the squad they've all done good things at different times. So all these 4 managers are special in their own way, and I really saw the Cowleys going to the top, but hopefully they still can, because they're really
hopefully so. I mean, I've got nothing to get. Like, I know a lot of
Lincoln
fans really wanted him back.
Yeah.
when we sacked Kennedy.
Yes.
And I was a bit like, no, because that's just replaying history, and you can't do that.
Yeah, it could have tarnished it the way he's going as well.
There's potential to tarnish it, even though I don't think it would be tarnished because it's still there, like it still exists, like it's not. But anyway, I'm glad that we went with another manager rather than Cowley, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no.
I think in this modern way, because obviously, like Alexander had 2 stints, Murphy had 2 stints.
Yeah.
I think with the way that football's evolving, you can't have 2 stints.
There was no benefit bringing him back.
There's no benefit bringing him back because all the headlines would be Lincoln trying to do glory, trying to go back to the glory day.
It's not good look in that regard.
It doesn't work now. Yes, you could do it back then when the press was bad. You can't do it now.
I suppose they could if it worked, but you don't know.
Yeah, but that's a massive caveat, isn't it?
Yeah.
If it worked, not.
Yeah, no, but that's what I'm trying to say. Like, I think the thing is, their football is completely different to how we play now. Long ball Lincoln, wasn't it, for a lot of the time? Yeah. They signed older players like Neil Eardley, Jason Sheckle, Michael Boswick.
You wouldn't do that now. Lincoln wouldn't do that now.
Lincoln wouldn't sign Nathan Arnold, for example, because he's like 28 and we have a very young squad. Well, at the time he was 28.
Yeah, 28 at the time.
And obviously we signed for younger players, more fresh.
We want that young player in that we can return on.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
It wouldn't have fit the club mould, and I think they knew that, hence why they went really quiet when we were mentioning the Cowleys. And the Cowleys are arguably the best managers we've had, but like I say, I don't want to take away from each period, because they all did their best at their times, and I think they're all as good as each other in their own way. Look at Colin Murphy. He won the GM Vauxhall Trophy, didn't he, which was the conference at the time. And then he got us promoted years earlier, because he had 2 stints. He got us promoted earlier from the what would be now as League 2, Division 4.
Division 4.
Yeah. And he did all right in Division 3. So, they've all done brilliant things at different times, like I say. However, I can't deny, I just want to end on this with the Cowleys, right?
We'll move on after this.
Oh, obviously, yeah. I just, when you get me talking about the Cowleys, because I have such admiration for them.
This is what this show's for, is an open conversation about
this. Awesome. The Cowleys, what I want to say is, when I met them, they're like some of the nicest blokes ever. Feel their presence in a room. Danny and Nicky.
I've met
kind to me when I met them.
Danny once, and that was at literally at a supermarket.
Yeah.
And he had no because at the end of the day, it's a stranger, right?
Yes.
Yeah, at the end of the day, all me and him as strangers,
all you have in common is
everyone
trying to make
Lincoln City, right? Is literally he manages it and I'm a supporter.
Yeah,
and I walked up, and I didn't. He didn't have to talk to me, sort of thing. Right. But we had maybe a 10-minute conversation.
He'd have had every right to go. Excuse me.
Yeah. You know what I mean? Because I'm not being funny, but if anyone tries to talk to you in a supermarket, what's the normal thing? Why are you trying to talk to me? Almost in a sense.
I'm doing my shopping.
Yeah. Leave me alone. But no, he took the time out.
Yes.
And I can't remember my age, but I was fairly, it wouldn't be too young, but what would it have been, like 12, 13 maybe 11, I don't know. But we had a nice conversation about the club and stuff like that, and it's those little things that I think make great managers. And
100%.
But anyway,
they brought the city into it, didn't they?
Yeah. They put the link in the Lincoln City, didn't they? But let's move into more future time. Well, not future times, but present day as a
Wembley. Yeah, sorry. Yeah.
Wembley.
Future times.
Do you think Wembley?
No.
Well, let's before we get onto that though, because we'll go into a ramble about that, won't we?
Yeah, we will.
We beat Barnsley 5-1.
Yeah.
We are undefeated in X amount of games. What is it, like
13 games?
Something stupid, right? What's Skubala doing?
Just
in the
90s.
What is Skubala doing?
I don't know. I mean, honestly, I want to say
what PEDs are they on? What's in the water at Sintle Bank?
By the way, we're not accusing you of PEDs, Skubala.
It's a joke. It's a joke.
I know how people are these days. No,
but what's going on? what's going on?
I generally don't know. Thing is, let's start with Kennedy, right? I think that's a suitable place to start, isn't it?
And I want to preface this conversation before we talk about Kennedy.
Yeah.
I think he did okay.
I think
the hate of Kennedy is quite. A lot of people really dislike him, like supporters. Like, I'll sit in my seat, and a lot of them would just diss, and I will as well. Yeah. But I don't think he was all that bad.
No, I don't think so.
I think the hate is. I think the hate. I think hate's a very strong word.
Looking at it, when I saw, obviously, we'll first bring this up for me. Like when I saw that he'd left, I thought, I know that it was going a bit toxic.
Yeah.
With him slagging
like with him,
players
with Mandroiu,
and Mandroiu, I will openly say, didn't help himself as well. Like,
yeah, for sure.
I know that obviously, when a manager talks about a player in a press conference, and I wouldn't say demeans him, but talks in a negative tone, sort of thing.
It's for the best. At the end of the day,
I know what he's trying to say, and I agree with him. But once, even if you agree with him, once a manager starts not protecting his players much, that's when you can tell it's going downhill. Yeah. Like in the dressing room.
The writing was on the wall after that thing of him.
I've heard stories of them, Ethan Erhan storming off to the car and all these stories. I don't know if they're true, but
I wouldn't go on them.
But I heard things, is all I will say. And if they are true, allegedly, if they are true, then he's lost the dressing room at that point.
And I think he had lost the dressing room.
I think so. When they first were saying, we need to gamble on a new manager, I thought, like I say, it was a gamble. But looking back on it, it seems to have worked a bit.
Not a bit.
A lot. Like 13 games unbeaten, that's never happening under Kennedy. I'm sorry, but it's not.
Because as soon as you'd go 1-0 up with Kennedy, what you'd do, you'd sit back for the rest of the game.
I think that's what you say.
Oh no, I'm not going to. That's effectively what you'd do. You'd play you'd play ultra defensive.
That's what I'm saying.
There was nothing there. With Skubala, we're playing attacking football.
Well, that was the thing.
When can you say? How long have we not been able to say that?
It was a bit of both worlds. Kennedy, I think his football was wrong. Like I even at the time I was watching. Yeah, all right, we got a few results and we beat Wickham and Blackpool 3-0, but I think there was too much of a cautiousness to a lot of games.
It was very much like let's sit and let's.
I think it was too much of the attitude of once it's a team bigger than you, act like they're bigger than you. They are better than you and play cautious football. Whereas Skubala seems to have the belief of, well, all right, Stevenage is a counteract, but apart from that, he seems to have this attitude of who gives a think boot. Go out there and play your best. Try your hardest. Attack. And that's what I'm trying to say. Like Kennedy, I know that he was hindered with. We've got to take into account he was hindered with a lot of strikers' problems and attacking players that he brought in, and they got injured. House, Walker, Vale. Yeah. Well, he was not the best, was he? Well, he did provide some energy, but that was about it from what I could see. And he didn't have the best track record according to Blackpool fans, Blackburn fans.
Yeah.
But
I think he was
at the same
Vale
time
was just injured though. Wasn't he? I think
he was injured for half of it, and then he came in, didn't he? After his injury, we signed an injured player. I remember.
Because I remember everyone was in uproar going, "What's the point?"
Yes,
like genuinely, what's the point?
We have no strikers, and I think he was suffered with that problem. But there's also no excuse because the football was defensive anyway, even from last season. We had a record amount of draws, so. Yeah, I think overall it was the right decision by the looks of things. Yeah. Only time will tell next season and beyond. But at the end of the day, I think it was the right decision. And when you slag off, well, I wouldn't say slag off because I did agree. I think his attitude was poor at the time. From what I could see,
Mandroiu's attitude was wrong.
Yes. Yes. Mandroiu. I do agree that he didn't seem to have the club at the best. Well. Maybe he'd disagree and argue with me of that, and that's completely fine. But from what I could see, and I don't know all the ins and outs.
No, of course not.
And I wouldn't
at the end of the day, we're just fans.
This is just my opinion. Sport, he didn't look like he was like Kennedy was right by the looks of things. From outside looking in,
it didn't look like a happy family.
Yes, and I think Kennedy was like he's a great player, but if he doesn't sort his attitude out, he's a statistic. He's gonna play. I want the best for him. And I know that he can do it. It's his mind that stops him from doing it, whether it's complacency or unconfidence, whatever. And I think that's what he was trying to say. And I think it caused an uproar with the Burton game being a massive. There the morale wasn't high at all. I think it all accumulated, plus stuff we probably don't even know about.
Yeah.
So overall, it seems to be the right thing to happen, and I'm happy with Skubala. And what's happened, we've got some attacking players in, some good recruitment, and I think that his style of play suits Lincoln. But what it looks like, he seems to be. When I listen to press conferences of him, he's way more uplifting than Kennedy. Kennedy, in his press conferences, I wouldn't like to judge him. He seemed like a lovely bloke. When I met him, he was a nice guy.
Oh, have you met him before?
I've met him, yeah.
How was that?
He was all right, yeah. He was a bit like he was a nice guy, but
But
he gave you that sense of not to get too close to him, if you
Right,
get me.
okay,
Like
okay.
he's a nice, polite guy, but you like with the Cowleys, you feel comfortable to talk to them for a bit. Where Kennedy, it's a bit like. First of all, there was a massive queue in the shop, by the way, and two.
Oh, did you go to one? Okay, you
Yeah,
went to a press
I
thing.
think he was a bit. He was professional in the sense of, nice to meet you. Here's your picture, but I'm a manager. You're a fan. Please.
I mean, also you've got
have
to
your
think
space. Yeah,
that's the whole point of that. Like
exactly. He's a professional.
He's going to talk for you 20 seconds and.
Whereas the Cowleys were a bit different. They'd invest their time. But that's not a huge reason. As long as the football's good, I don't really care about that, if I'm honest. To a certain extent. Obviously, you can't have really rude managers.
No.
I'm going on a lot. But what I'm trying to say is Skubala in his press conferences seems to be a lot more uplifting. We can do this, blah, blah, blah. As Kennedy was like, in a nutshell, it wasn't the greatest. Rome wasn't built in a day, Michael. We didn't have anything in the final third, in a nutshell.
That's good. That's good Irish.
And whereas Skubala's a bit like, well, all the lads are up for it, blah blah blah. We're just going to try out.
And it's so nice.
And it's so uplifting,
And because it's uplifting, the scoreboard at the end of the games are uplifting. I mean,
5-1.
Yes.
Against Barnsley. I mean, you were at the game.
I can't remember the Cowleys even scoring 16 goals in 3 games the way they
16 goals.
It's mental.
Games
The
is
attacking.
insane.
This is a tough league as well.
It's quite hard.
And Barnsley are 4th when we played them.
Yeah.
They're a very good team. Yeah. They've got every right to play the way they did. And we did that by counter-attacking. They had more possession.
33% possession.
In the first half, we hardly had the ball and we were the better team in the sense of we would do more with the ball.
Yeah.
There was more impetus on the ball. Whereas Barnsley were a bit, they scored their goal, but there was no... I think our lads, the way we've been playing these last few games, it's a bit of, we've got nothing to lose. Let's just play for the badge. Let's just try.
Why not? At the end of the day, why not?
Because if we lose, no one expects us to be in the playoffs. But if we do get the playoffs, what an achievement. Yeah. We can sit back and say, we put everything into that. Even if we don't get playoffs, I think that's the attitude. And I love that.
Yeah.
Because there's this nothing to lose attitude. Let's do it, boys. Let's look after each other. Go out there. And wear the heart on the sleeve. And for ages I've been wanting that in the Lincoln. And for so long I've been looking at the players and some of them just don't seem as interested. But this Lincoln team, I can honestly say, look like they would die out there for the 3 points.
Yeah.
The way they've been playing. And that's all us fans want. Even if we lose, I want us to play as best as we can.
Yeah.
That's all us fans want.
That's every
Even
single
if we're
fan.
not good enough, as long as we play our best.
Every
and
single
try
fan
our best
across
and
this
they
country of
run
any
for
football
90
club.
minutes, that's all that matters.
Every single football club, every single fan of any football club in the world only wants that.
Yeah.
I mean...
None of this, I can't be arsed, it's a lonely team. Look at Joe Taylor. Joe Taylor has been immense. Doesn't stop running, presses well, scores.
What's the stat of
the highest scoring under 23s player in the English pyramid,
Above Haaland.
Above Haaland. As an under 23. I know it's a lower league, so you can't really, but still.
Yeah.
It's a
you
mad
have to make
statistic.
adjustments for it, but it's a statistic that is a statistic.
Yes.
But no, let's talk about the game a bit more.
Yeah, sure.
So Moylan scored 2 goals.
He came with Kennedy. Well, he was meant to come with Kennedy.
Yeah, he was, yeah.
And then just handed to Skubala.
Yeah, because there's a lot of
So and Skubala didn't have to. No. Genuinely didn't have to play him because it wasn't his player. If he didn't want him, he could have easily gone, and no one would have critiqued him.
No,
not a single player, not a single fan would have actually critiqued him if he said, "No, I don't want you."
Like for me, when I was looking at it, we all knew about Jack Moylan before the club even talked about him.
Well, no, we knew it because
it's the world's worst
came out. There was a thing about how I think was it in the summer we said I think it was the day after the transfer window we said we're getting him in January.
Yes. Either way, it was a big coup on it, and it was a Kennedy signing, and he's Irish, ironically. But
big brain that one, isn't it?
Thanks. No, but it's true. But the thing is, with Jack Moylan, I was thinking, is he going to be a Skubala player? Is he going to be what Skubala wants?
What's worked, actually,
but it has worked.
What's worked is because I don't think Skubala had his niche yet until that January.
Yes.
Because we were struggling.
Yes, we were.
Badly.
Yeah.
So I think that helped him even more with the fact that we couldn't play him until the January.
Do you know what the genius looking back at this, and I don't want to preempt anything, but the geniusness looking back at it was the board were like, let's get rid of Kennedy now, it's not working, and then once the new manager comes in, we'll give him a couple of months just to settle in. Not judge him on results, just let him settle in, get his players right.
Yeah, we're not doing a Birmingham.
And then at January, he can do what he can do, and then afterwards we'll see how he does. Do you know what I mean? What was you going to say about Birmingham City?
Well, it's like we're not going. Oh, well, he's crap. So let's get him. Birmingham are just rotating managers now for the sake of it.
Yeah,
they're it's like a Watford where you just keep where it's like, okay, you're not doing well. Well, we're just. It's what's the point in doing that?
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
Obviously, Lucas Jensen.
I think
for this record has been incredible.
I agree.
For the fact that we've only conceded one goal in how many games?
Yeah. You can't deny his goodness. A lot of people were very quick to jump on his throat when he made those two mistakes.
A lot of people were writing him off.
And you know what?
You know what? I'll admit. I said I didn't think he was that great towards the start of the season. I said I think we've had better.
I would agree to say, in the first couple of games, I will admit that I was a bit this guy's distribution's a bit poor.
And to be honest,
I didn't see much of him, because the first glimpse that all the fans saw was the distribution and the balls going out to the sidelines. And then they're like, oh dear. But I think, first of all, it took him a while to get into it. But after the Sheffield United game, I think he got into his groove a bit more, got more confidence.
That probably helped him, actually.
I agree.
That penalty shootout, that probably really helped him.
But I think it's kind of silly that the fans turned on him after those. I know it's two mistakes, but it's like all goalkeepers make mistakes. And
yeah, it's the worst position in football for it. So I fully understand why the fans were getting on him. I fully understand. It's just an issue with...
But I always knew he was going to be great. After I saw the saves he made, it just needed to be consistent. And now, by goodness me, is it consistent? He saved us in a lot of games. When we were 3-4-0 up, no one would have blamed him if he conceded 1 or 2 goals, if it was 5-2. No one would have gone, how dare you concede those 2 goals? Because we've already done the work. But the guy, what makes a great goalkeeper is when you've got nothing to do, and then it suddenly springs upon you and you make that great save. Yeah. When you've had nothing to do, your mind's elsewhere potentially, or it's still on the game. He's kept that focus. And what I saw in the Bristol City game, Henry, was when I saw that, I looked at him and I was thinking, he's still making saves and being up for it after he's had nothing to do and we're 3-0 up, and he's still got that urgency to go, I need to make this save here. And this guy obviously cares about goal difference as well. He cares about his performances.
Well, clearly. Clearly.
And I like that about a goalkeeper, willingness to keep the clean sheet, conceding 1 or 2.
And he's angry when he concedes. He's angry.
He is.
Barnsley game, for instance, he was fuming.
He was like, next time out, I'm making
he
sure
was
I'm keeping that clean sheet.
angry with the back line, going like.
I saw him. He was like, what? You know what I mean? Even from that distance.
Yeah. Obviously, going back to the Barnsley game as much as possible. We had news that McGrandles was out, and obviously Hamilton had been out. I think the week before. I think we got news of him being out.
And then Teddy had his niggles, didn't he?
And then Teddy was going through it, I think.
But Freddie Draper.
Yes. Freddie was out, but I think that was just a training issue that had happened.
I think it was worrying for me at first because I was like thinking, where's the creativity going to come from? Bishop and a lot of things. And we haven't missed McGrandles at all. It seemed to be like...
You don't think we've missed... Oh, well, we haven't, have we? I suppose we
No, he's only had a couple of games and we've seemed to have adapted without him.
Yes,
He's played good, decent games. I wouldn't say very good games, but decent games when he's come back. He's put a shift in.
I think
about the injury.
It gives kudos to the players that we've got. The fact that we can do all of this with key players injured.
Yeah.
Right?
That's exciting for a good team.
Imagine we had Tyler. I mean, it depends how highly you rate Tyler Walker. I know he's done well for Lincoln in the past, but if you look at his stats, it doesn't look brilliant, really. No. He's like, his best season was at Lincoln, and then was it Mansfield?
Mansfield the year before as well.
The year before. And then he played basically nothing.
Yeah.
So it depends how highly you want to rate Walker, but imagine we had him in the side. Imagine Ben House was fit. For that time.
I'd love to have seen how Kennedy would have done with a Tyler Walker that had finally got one goal and then he's got...
Because it took him 5 games to get injured.
Yeah.
Without a goal.
I thought he was getting closer and closer to scoring and you never know. The week after he could have scored if he'd not got injured, and who knows what would have happened. But
like we've got, I mean, obviously Lewis Montsma's been out for what seems like ages, and it is ages. But you can't do much with an ACL injury, can you? So imagine we had those caliber of play. I mean, I argue that I don't care what game it is. I would put Montsma in my back line every day of the week. Yeah, because I think he is one of the best players that Lincoln genuinely have.
When he's fully fit.
When he's obviously, yeah. That's goes without saying. When he's fully fit, that man, I think, is genuinely what I consider the perfect. It's not the perfect, but for Lincoln, like what you'd want as a centre back. I think Montsma fits that calibre of.
Definitely. There's a reason why we looked at him and was so desperate to sign him from the Netherlands. You know what I mean?
I don't know how we found him. To be honest, I don't know what the scouting works on that one. But
what was George doing in Holland?
What was it? A second division, second or third division Holland side? Dutch side rather, not Holland.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. So imagine we had that type of player back.
Yeah.
Imagine we had Ben House at the start of the season. Imagine we had Ben House for that bit that he was out.
True. No, but like you say, he is a great player. Not only would he defend, which is the most crucial part, isn't it, as a defender? But he'd bring the ball out.
He had that ability to bring it.
And even shoot from distance, he had some good shots on him. Yeah, score, yeah.
And would score.
Good headers as well. Like the one against Sheffield Wednesday. I know there's even better goals in when we weren't there, unfortunately for us. But good for him.
During that COVID season.
Yeah, during that COVID season. But when I watched him against Sheffield Wednesday, it was like the season before Montsma, and it was a beautiful header. Place, timing, physicality, height. Yeah. He played for the badge. And do you know what I like about him? He's not only a great player, but he's so likeable to the fans. He'd sit with the fans.
Yes, yeah. The amount of times I've met Montsma.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, he doesn't know me. Let's preface that. He doesn't know me.
Oh my God, they're lovely.
The amount of times I've shook his hand, had a 2 minute
pint.
2 minute. No. A 2 minute, 3 minute conversation.
Yeah.
Just talk.
Yeah. Oh, definitely.
He's one of those. He loves the club, and I could tell. And Montsma, if you're, this is Beggy. If you're watching or viewing or whatever, please get in contact because I'd love to have you on the show. Genuinely, I'd love to actually interview you, especially since with the injury. I think that would be a great talking point. But yeah,
definitely. But like I say, Montsma's a lovely guy. Like I was just literally, I've speak to him before, like you say, and I've walked past his car. I was just looking and I was like, it's Montsma. And I was just thinking, he's going to be... Because all the players, when you see him in the car, they're just on their phone or they're just looking out going...
Yeah.
Or they're like smiling but not talking to the fans. Whatever. Just what a player does. You know what you want.
Yeah.
Play with your fingers before the game. I don't know. But fun more.
Fiddle with your fingers?
I don't know what they
doing
do.
this?
I mean, just what a normal person does in the car.
I've got to wait half hour for the game to kick off. What else can I do? I'm not going to train. I'm just going to fiddle my fingers.
They're just sit in the car, and then when they hear the whistle, they just run out of the car quickly. Yeah. Oh, shit.
They run out the bus. They're like, oh, piss! I've got
a game in 5 minutes.
I've got a game.
Yeah, it's 2:55. They haven't even got socks on or out.
I've just been twiddling my thumbs.
Twiddling the thumbs for half hour, yeah.
But no, with Montsma, he's different. He gets to half an hour now. But what he's trying to say is, Montsma, right, let's get back to the story. I walk past his car. I'm just expecting him to, like I say, twiddle his thumbs or whatever and look out the car and go, whatever. I don't know what they do. Didn't expect anything. I was like, "You're right, Lewis," and he just put his hand up and waved. He's like, "You're right, mate." It's like, "Why is it? Is he waving at me or someone behind me?" and I was like waving at him, and he's like, put his thumbs up, and he's like, "You're right, mate."
Yeah.
I was like thinking, and then I was just, and you know what? Like, I wish more players would do that, because you're just walking towards the stall and you're smiling, you're thinking, "Why? He didn't have to do that."
No, yeah.
Why is he putting his thumbs up? And it's like it was a pal of his, you know. And he's just like, "You're right, mate. How are you doing?"
Yeah.
And he's like, "I'm good, mate." You know, just kind of that unwritten, spoken like bit of language. And it was like, players, because a lot of players don't do that. It was so special, because it was like, that's a man that understands the club. He treats the fans as his own.
Yeah,
he's the champion of the people.
I think would look so much more. I mean, we're just so strong defensively at the minute. Don't get me wrong, but I think having him in the side would be another plus.
Oh, definitely, 100.
And I don't think I'm alone in saying that. I think a lot of people would agree with me.
Oh,
Can we make the playoffs genuinely?
Well, I think
not winning it. Can we get into that semi-final?
I think we can. I think the realistic thing is finishing the playoffs is more realistic than getting to the final.
Oh no! Ignore the final. I don't care about
getting into the playoffs.
Getting into that playoff position
is an achievement for us this season. That might sound unambitious to some, but looking at where we were December time, getting in the playoffs is a bloody achievement. Going 13 games unbeaten is an achievement.
Yeah.
Let me tell you that. From watching how we've been, I'm sure there's been many teams that have
Leeds are
climbed into the
13 games unbeaten.
Yeah,
you know,
and I'm sure there's many teams that have climbed into the playoffs after being 14th, 13th, and looking at.
Oh, for sure.
But what I'm trying to say is, for context, getting in the playoffs is beautiful. Having Sincil packed to the rafters on Sky Sports Television or wherever it is,
yeah,
TNT,
Sky, it'll be on Sky, yeah.
On Sky, box office or whatever, and having this packed Sincil Bank finally, instead of having it behind closed doors, with only 2,000. That would be beautiful. You know, like the old days under Keith Alexander, the city being behind the club for that day, and then going away and the tense atmosphere. I tell you, it would be beautiful.
Yeah.
Like, do you know what I'm trying to say?
Oh, of course.
That would be an achievement in itself. Do I think that we can get playoffs? I think we can. I don't want to preempt anything, because the Oxford game is important, and people might say it's just the Oxford game. It's not, because if we lose any other game,
that Oxford game is the most integral game of this season.
Yes,
that will be looked at like with Hawks vision. I mean obviously I think we'll do well this bit of the season now. I can't see us really faltering all too much. I mean, God, fucking. There's no wood around, but I can't touch wood. But
that means we're just faltering out.
That means we're gonna lose every game now for the rest of the thing. Jesus.
We don't need bag eggs at the club, Henry. Come on.
We don't need it.
Come on, mate.
I'll just go support a Prem team. But you know, like, I mean, every single game coming up now is integral.
Yeah.
But that Oxford game is huge.
Yes, 100%. 100%, I agree.
And that'll be tough. That'll be horrid. That'll be a horrid game.
The thing is, but Oxford have been our bogey team a lot of the time as well. I know that we've had victories against them, but do you know what? It'd be written in the stars for us to do it. Not trying to preempt anything, but do you know why? Because they battered us 6-0, and they would have gone to after that game again. What a steal! Imagine, with the way that we're going at the moment, scoring loads of goals, imagine we have something like we did at Barnsley and Bristol. We do that to them and get in the playoffs. Yeah. That would be the ultimate payback for me.
I mean, we are relying on teams faltering.
Yes, of course we are.
Like, majorly.
Yeah.
But I mean, after
Thank goodness
after
the
Stevenage game,
Thank goodness Stevenage have followed, because they had 2 games around them.
After that Stevenage game we played, I was like, oh, we're not going to get it.
Leyton Orient did us a favour. I mean, they could undo that favour if they beat us off his mind, but they did us a favour, so did Peterborough, by beating them, so they don't have those games in hand on us anymore.
During the game...
We're ahead.
During the Bristol game, Bristol Rovers game, I was checking my phone constantly.
Yes, same, yeah.
And I like the table, just live checking them. And I think Port Vale had... was it Oxford?
Yeah.
And I was going like... It might have been Oxford, I can't remember. I was basically like...
Come on, Port Vale. I mean, they haven't won in donkey's years, but...
If you're relying on Port Vale to win, mate.
Yeah. It's like relying on Carlisle to do anything.
Oh no, that's going to be the team that beats us.
Oh yeah, that'll be the team. Do you know? It'll be planned. It'll be planned. Planned scored against us. He couldn't do anything at Lincoln.
No, he couldn't.
Look, I don't like disrespecting players. I think it's wrong because I'm not.
I'm
not a footballer, right? So I've got no rhyme or reason to be dissing players, right? Because I never made it. But what did Luke Plange bring to the table?
I can't remember.
In the nicest possible way, what did he bring to the table?
Well, he fielded 11 players. That's all it.
All
I can think of, really.
Yeah.
That's with the greatest respect, because at Carlisle he's clearly done better. He's scored a goal for one.
Yeah.
Already done better at Lincoln.
Yeah.
But like when he scored it against us, but no, when he was at Lincoln, he just didn't seem to fit. He didn't seem in the game, you know. And that's what I'm trying to say.
No.
And it was annoying to watch personally, but I'm sure he's a good guy.
Oh no, I'm not dissing the character of the man. I'm
sure he's played better games
at
Carlisle.
I'm sure he's doing well at Carlisle.
Yeah.
Thank you for tuning in and watching or listening to this show wherever you get this on. This will be hosted on YouTube and Spotify. So if you don't like the visuals of me and George. More so me, you know.
No, Henry.
More so me.
You got to credit yourself.
Then Spotify is the way to go. Yeah. But yeah, no. Thank you for watching or listening, and we'll catch you soon.
Yeah, thank you very much, guys. Thank you for having me on, Henry.
Yeah, no worries. Up the imps.
Up the imps.